Right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. After consecutive AFC South titles and consecutive trips to the playoffs, the Houston Texans were expected to make it three in a row for both of those categories. But right now, the Texans have themselves a good old uphill battle. If they want to try to win the AFC South for the third straight year, as we have now seen the Texans lose their first three games of this season. And to put it in its proper context, only six teams have gone on to make the postseason after losing their first three games of the year. You look at the struggles of the Texans offense, and that is where this problem starts and ends. Houston is only averaging a little bit more than 267 yards per game, which is near the bottom in the NFL this season. And of course, when you think about the struggles of this Texans offense, what's going on with quarterback CJ Stroud? You look at CJ Stroud in 2023. Okay, he came onto the scene like gangbusters. All right, won the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year through 23 touchdowns that year, passed for more than 4,000 yards. And people said, hey, you know what? The Texans got themselves something. We've seen the Texans go out there the last 2 years, whether it's the draft or in free agency, and put the pieces around CJ Stroud. But each year, we've seen Stroud regress a little bit more. And of course, after last season, the Texans got to the second round. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round of the playoffs. And then, we saw Houston move on from Bobby Slowick as the team's offensive coordinator in favor of Nick Caley. And what I am seeing right now from CJ Stroud, I see a guy who's not comfortable back there in the pocket. I see somebody who is very hesitant with his throws. And honestly, CJ Stroud looks to me like a guy who's lacking the swagger that you would need from your starting quarterback. So far this season, Stroud has only thrown two touchdown passes while he's thrown three interceptions, two key interceptions yesterday in the loss to Jacksonville. And then on top of that, Stroud has been sacked 80 times this season with a QBR just over 40. So I'm looking at it like this for the Texans. They have the pieces in place to be a lot better than what they are. They're not running the football effectively right now. I know that the Joe Mixon injury has really, hurt them. They brought in Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb is still trying to get his sea legs, but it's hard to get the ground game going when nobody that you're facing is fearing your pass game right now. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm looking at Stroud, and like I said, he doesn't seem comfortable right now. And I think what's going on with the Texans, in my opinion, they're trying to get CJ Stroud to play quarterback. And you go back and look at CJ Stroud's 2023 rookie season for that matter. CJ Stroud was dominating as a football player. And I think what they need to do is they have to find a blend, a combo where CJ Stroud can be that football player and also CJ Stroud can be that quarterback. And right now, they have not had it. You look at the Texans' defense, it's been lights out, and Houston's defense has played well enough to win. I know, well, some people might not want to hear that, saying, well, you know what, you let Tampa Bay come right down at the end of the game last Monday night and beat you. I get it, but nonetheless, this Texans defense has played well enough for their team to win all three games. But of course, playing well enough and getting it done are two different things in the National Football League. So now D'Amico Ryans and company, they've got to figure this out because it's right now, it's not the AFC South of old where you could say, you know what, 7 or 8 wins might get you the division crown. You look at Indianapolis right now, they're 3-0. Jacksonville is 2-1. And let's not forget, Jacksonville just beat Houston yesterday. So technically, Jacksonville has a 3 game lead over Houston in this division now, as the Texans are tied with the Tennessee Titans for the basement in this division. And of course, that's something that's going to be very, important coming this Sunday. Why? Because the Texans host those Titans with rookie quarterback Cam Ward. So this right here, I feel, is Houston's last chance to avoid starting the season 1-4. Because you look at it, week 5, they're at Baltimore. So they really have themselves an uphill battle right now. And the schedule, once they come out of their bye in week 6, looks very, very dicey right now for them. They're at Seattle in week 7. They're home for San Fran in week 8. They're home for Denver in week 9. They're home for Jacksonville, the rematch, in week number 10. And then we still got to look at that second half of the season from mid-November going into December. We're talking about games with Buffalo, at Kansas City. You're at the Chargers. So it's one of those where the Texans need to get out of their own way soon, or else this season is about to get away from them. Defensively, I like what they're doing. I mean, they're playing solid with the likes of Will Anderson up front getting after the quarterback. The talent is there, and you know that D'Amico Ryans is going to coach them up. But the bottom line is this team is only going to go as far as CJ Stroud, takes them. And right now, like I said before, he just doesn't seem to have that swagger going for him right now. I'm like, I know he had the shoulder, issues over the off season. Everybody's saying, he's fine. But again, I just simply don't see a guy right now that has that swagger. He doesn't have that same it factor, if you will, that he brought to the table as a rookie in 2023. So the Texans aren't done, but they are fighting an uphill battle, and it's getting late very quick for Houston, because I thought that yesterday was a must win against Jacksonville, and I thought that was going to be the game, okay, where the Texans got going. Now, if they lose this Sunday at home to Tennessee, you know what? At this point, you could basically pack it in for the Texans here in 2025. And as long as the Texans continue to lose, there's going to be mounting questions about the ability of CJ Stroud. Like I said before, the Texans' fate is in his hands. Can Stroud get this thing turned around? And of course, if he gets it turned around, the Texans get it turned around. We've got to wait and see. But nonetheless, like I said before, only 6 teams have made the postseason after an 0-3 start. Indianapolis is hot right now. You've got a 3-game deficit if you're the Texans looking up at Jacksonville. You've got your work cut out for them. But like I said, the deck is stacked against the Texans. Let's see if they could try to find a way to figure this out and maybe get a win this Sunday and possibly build off of it. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And if you give me that follow, I will give you that follow in return. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, be sure to check me out at the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going around social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.